all good.
This is it. Sending the security
Right.
to open the doors.
Be careful of what you're going to say because
Check
people
the IDs.
might take offense. So, yeah, let me just get this all up. Hi, people. If you are waiting, welcome.
Yeah, we're
Trying to
in.
figure out the whole setup. You know what I'm saying? I got windows open all over the place, man. Coming like Bill
Mustafa, first man in the club. Well done, bro. Welcome, my bro.
Done.
You must have copped your early.
Sending
You
this
must have
security.
copped your early.
Oh, you got to mute that. Mute. Well, if you're watching on your iPad, but you got to mute it, yeah?
Yeah, mine's on mute. Yeah.
Maybe it's me. I don't know.
I think it was me before, bro, but I've kind of sorted it now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, we're
Trying to
in.
figure out the whole setup. You know what I'm saying? I got windows open all over the place, man.
Who is that? Is that who's Mustafa, first man in the club. Well done, bro. Welcome.
That's my laptop, I think.
Was it?
Oh yeah, that's better now, isn't it?
I think we should be good.
Moeed looking for the culprit, and then he realized he was the culprit.
Yeah, I was one. Guys, welcome. Quarantine Conversations with South Asian creatives, Moeed, Daniel, and Gaurav. We're just going to wait until 7 o'clock before we get things going. We're going to allow some more people to turn up. Thank you for the 11 of you who were waiting in the queue before we'd actually even started.
Yeah.
But yeah,
we love
minutes. Let me tell you a story today actually about me while we're waiting. I literally, I thought I was going to be late, bro. I went to pick up a camera in Holloway.
Yeah.
And flipping, got there, got the camera, calm, safe. On my way back now, Waze, the app, putting my road name, basically. I didn't put the postcode in. Driving for 20 minutes. I'm like, it says it's 7 minutes away. I look like I'm nowhere. I'm still in Tottenham. I'm like in Tottenham. Pull over. And it's like my road name in Edmonton. And I was like, oh my days, bro. So I've been driven 25 minutes in the wrong direction. It's 6 o'clock now. And I'm just like, right, man's got to get back for this thing.
So what time was this?
This was like at 5 to 6, bro.
Oh my days, bro.
Did a quick skirt, came back on my way back. And now we are here, bro. I actually can't see how many people are online right now. Let me have a little look. Okay.
Still got 5 minutes yet, innit?
Yeah, give it another little while. Oh, there we go.
Right, okay.
We've got 11 people still. Oh, 12 people watching now.
Love that. Welcome.
I'm going to do another little Insta thing quickly.
Yeah, of course, bro.
Anyone that's early into the club, just grab yourself a drink. Do you know what I mean? Sort yourself out.
Do that.
Sort yourself out on guest list. Do you know what I mean? If you need any VIP tables, chat to my man Mo.
My light is the best, you know. I might have to turn on the spotlight.
Woo! Good old spotlight.
I have to do a Gaurav, bruv.
Gaurav's out-produced us on our own content.
Ooh, look at that. Gleaming, fam. Gleaming.
The little light and that.
Yeah. Right, guys, if you're tuning in now, we're just going to wait a couple more minutes before we begin this conversation. It is going to be very, very cool, very, very fun. I'm just going to do a quick Insta to make sure people know that we're going live now. You know what I'm going to do, actually? I'm going to reply to all the people that said they're going to watch it and say we're going live now.
Jeez.
I like it.
Like, you know that club promoter that comes outside and goes, are you coming in? Yeah? Excuse me, love. Yeah, free entry, 2 drinks. Do you know what I mean? For them ones. Love
That's
that one.
That is Moeed, bro.
Literally, I'm just DMing everyone. We've got 15 people.
Loving it.
And everyone that's locked in, obviously, you'll already know now that we're going to be speaking to Gaurav, who's got a pretty incredible creative story to tell. So we're just going to catch up with him on a Thursday evening and just see what's been going on. So it's going to be a really good conversation. Do you know what I mean? Be ready to not even take some notes, just take in some energies, and it should be a real good vibe. So sit tight. If any of you need to run to the loo, now's a good time, because this is not a Bollywood film. There is no intermission. Once we start, we're going. Do you know what I mean?
There's no stopping it. Once the combo flows, man, that's it. You know what I mean?
It's done. It's got a. I've got a Gaurav. I've got that exact lamp in my garden.
Bro, in the garden.
Oh man, don't rate your lamp, bro.
No, what? Wait, what's wrong with it being in the garden? Like, I use it in the garden, like when we're sitting outside.
That's pretty sick. I think that's when you're having a barbecue or something, isn't it?
Yeah, well, just because we sit outside most evenings when it's warm anyway, so we have a cup of tea or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Take in the day, look at our shed, and go, we should probably fix that. Have the same conversation every day. You know what I mean?
Guys, just if you're tuning in, we've got a couple more for tuning in. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes for more of you to jump on the stream, let all the latecomers come true, and then we will begin this conversation. Very, very excited about this whole thing. We've got 20 people right now, 21.
Gang.
Well, please, we really appreciate your patience. A couple more minutes, it's gone back to 19. It's all good. And then, we will get the show on the road, man. If you have the link free, send it, broadcast that on the WhatsApp. I'm gonna do that literally right now, and then I think we'll get started.
And for those of you that are here, just if you want to imagine what you should be doing right now, just imagine that time at uni when you got to a club too early during freshers and it's kind of empty. The DJ's playing like tunes like Shawty's got a melody and like the tunes that you like, but you know that's a dead tune and like, why is that playing in this club right now? So just kind of walk around, mingle. You know what I mean? Where it's nearly kickoff time, just like 2 minutes away. So.
Radio.
And of course, you already know anyway, because we batter the shit out of you with our promo. We are South Asian creatives, and we're going to be having a conversation. It's creatives in quarantine. You know what I mean? So we get guests on. The first one we did was with the legend Mim Sheikh, and we've got another wicked guest on today. So just a minute to go before Moeed kicks things off, and we start.
I'm just sending bare messages now to all the people.
It's hitting 7 in a minute. Nearly there, boys.
Jeez.
And obviously, people can watch this straight after as well, right? If they miss it.
Yeah, today's on YouTube.
Okay. Look at. I'll see you all. I'll see you all comments as well. So love to everyone who's tuned in.
Yes.
And that would be true.
I think we're gonna start, guys. Let's do this, man.
Do it, man.
So, people, welcome.
Jeez.
To the second live creative quarantine conversation. I know you love that alliteration right there.
Jeez.
My name is Moeed Majid. I'm one half of South Asian Creatives, along with
Daniel, aka Urban Panda. Wagwan, everyone. We're locked in.
Brother. And we had big plans for lots of cool events, live events at Box Park in Wembley, but obviously those weren't able to come to fruition because of the situation we're in right now. However, we are coming to you live through YouTube. And today, following up from our first guest, we have another big boy in the music industry. The one, the only Gaurav H music we send, bro.
Bro, you have the best intro like ever. I have to say it.
Look at the pillow, man. I'm just looking at the pillow at the back,
blood. Branding, innit? It's me, bro. That's me, innit?
Hey, listen.
Jokes, bro.
Bro,
listen.
I'm gonna change like Gaurav H marketing, innit? So let's scrap that away.
Hey, man's coming with the entourage. Like man's coming like Anthony Joshua. You know what I mean? Like, branding everywhere. Welcome, brother. Thank you so much for taking the time out to kind of speak to us, because when the event got cancelled, we kind of thought, damn, we built up a big kind of head of steam, and we thought we were going to really bring something positive to like creatives from South Asian backgrounds. And now over the extended period of time, we've been having conversations with various people from the community, and they've just been, we've been getting a good lot of questions like, oh, what are you guys doing? Or how is it going? And I'm finding it hard to do this, or I'm struggling with that. And we thought the best way to kind of answer people's questions, or the best way to kind of open people up, is just have an open conversation with like-minded people, get a guest on that does something pretty cool with themselves and hear about their story. Because I'm sure if people hear about what you've been up to and what your story is and all that, I think they'll be either able to relate or learn from a lot of what you have to say. So thanks a lot for tuning in, bro. How are you doing? How are you feeling?
I'm good, bro. I mean, I think I've adapted to this whole situation that's going on. Wait, before I start, am I allowed to swear or am I not? Because then I have to go into.
I have absolutely no qualms with you swearing, but
Gaurav swearing. Hello to everyone in the comments, by the way. Taja, Manish, Hollywood Martini,
such a thing for me to say, innit? Am I allowed to swear?
Yeah, go for it. Go. You can swear all the way. I think we'll leave the C word as the yeah. No, none of that. Yeah, but the rest of it, go for it, bro. Tell us.
So, like, I think I've learned to adapt. As you guys know, a lot has happened kind of in the past, like, 3 months, where I've kind of shifted from being this guy who is very outgoing, which I'm a very outgoing person. I love going out, I love meeting people, but I've had to adapt into this kind of element of being at home, man, and learning how to deal with it as a creative. Obviously, as creative people, we have to network, we have to talk a lot, and we got to talk. We got to approach people. That's what we do. So I've had to kind of deal with it myself, man, and learn new ways. Other than that, everything's good, man. We're healthy, we're alive, man. So it's all good.
Yeah. It's really interesting. You said that as a creative, that's what we do. You approach people, you talk to people, you connect with people. A lot of people find that quite difficult, especially the young people that we've spoken to. They've always felt like, oh, am I annoying people? Should I be approaching them? Is it appropriate? But you've just said there very clearly that, bro, this is what we do. Like, if you want to go and let people, you have to let people know what you do. You have to let people know how you can bring stuff to the game. So that's quite interesting. You said that, man. I'm glad you said that.
No, I have to add to that as well, bro. Sorry, Gaurav, man.
Yeah, no, go for it, bro.
I completely agree with you as well. Like, even when I was starting out this whole thing 10 eons ago, bro, 10 years ago, I'd think the same, I'd find people on YouTube or whatever that I really thought were cool, but I wouldn't have the guts to, like, just DM them or email them or anything. But that's how you get yourself around, man. Like, you literally just have to take that opportunity. What's an email? And now people are for some weird reason, people are emailing me, asking me for advice, and I'm happy to respond to an email. It takes less than 2 or 3 minutes. Do you know what I'm saying? So I'm thinking now, if I had sent that email back then, that person would have probably been gassed and like been said, all right, cool, yeah, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So you have to get in this industry, you have to get used to the word no, or the feeling of slight rejection. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah,
what's the worst that can happen? Someone's not going to respond to an email. Like, it's not a big deal. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Get stuff out there. If you've got a good product, something cool going on, keep at that. And people will come see you and see what you're doing, see the vibe you're on, and you will flourish. You know what I'm saying? So, like you said, get yourself out there, chat to people. And yes, that has affected us all negatively because of this lockdown. I'm the same, bro, man. I'm an extrovert, man. I feel like a bird in a cage just had his wings clipped, bro.
Yeah.
I'm there, bro. I'm trying to flap away, bro. I'm not going nowhere. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been very, very difficult, man. It's been very difficult trying to adapt, but you just got to do it, bro. Chameleon style. You just got to do it.
Are there any particular things that you've started doing, whether it's hobbies, whether it's to do with your career or not, that you weren't doing before lockdown that you're now doing?
I mean, bro, I've started to. So actually, a lot of people that I was told to join today was kind of to mainly talk about kind of what I've discovered with like YouTube and kind of using social media to your advantage, but not kind of the typical social media of kind of like putting a picture up and then moaning, thinking, why did it not get enough likes? But use social media in a powerful way. So I've kind of learned to use it, kind of how to connect to companies and how to get through to the right people that I want to talk to, and kind of cut out the nonsense of why am I not getting enough likes? Because that's what I was like before. I was always worrying about, why is my music not getting heard? Why is this not happening? Why is not that happening? And now with lockdown, I learned that this Instagram is one thing, but there's so many other powerful tools out there that you can use. As a musician, as a creative, there's so many other platforms that you need to utilize, because right now everyone's on Instagram, everyone's looking for that one vision. And kind of I've learned to think about, wait, what about the other platforms? What about Twitter? What about Snapchat? What about YouTube? What about Spotify, Apple Music? And the recent one that I've discovered is Amazon Music. And that has been so useful, like
TikTok.
That's, yeah, literally. But TikTok, all these things, bro, is like, there's so many things out there that I've discovered during lockdown, man. And the way I'm working, like, instead of having, so to start with, I built a studio. That was the first thing I did during lockdown.
Wow.
So very messy, so excuse the mess, but
wow,
that I went and built. Me and my dad, man, we built a studio. So my dad's amazing, man. He's a great builder. Well, he don't build, but I mean, he just knows how to build. But yeah, so he went and helped me with the studio, and we done it properly. We got it treated, so it's done exactly how I wanted it to be. That was the first step, and then the second step was, wait, I can't have people in here. How am I going to work? So I've found ways to work with people using Zoom, using Skype, using things that we've got at in our hands, basically, kind of thing, you know.
So you're doing live sessions, or you're doing creative sessions with clients or colleagues in that over Zoom and Skype.
Yeah, bro. So basically,
Wow.
what we kind of can do is like, so I can so if you've got monitor speakers at home, you're in the studio, you can hear what I'm doing live. As long as you've got speakers, as long as you've got headphones, you can hear everything, man. So it's pretty cool.
That's lit. That's it. I want to get into what you actually do, because we haven't told the audience that yet, for those that may not. But before that, we've got a lot of comments. So I just want to say, shout out Kabir Verdi. He says, Gaurav, you're a legend. Andrew Bailey, Gaurav, keeping it PG. Harry Billen, Wagwan Harry Billen, MA, Hemi Moore, the Mastering Podrick, Sangeeta, DJ Yash, Tajan, Chris Moses. Shout out to you all,
Jeez.
You can see your comments, man, so keep them coming, please. That'll be wonderful, man. But
very deep Warzone coaching, DM for detail.
If you're sick of this conversation and you want to get better at Warzone, you know what I mean? Shout my man.
Dark eyes in the comments.
Yeah, obviously I know what you do. I think Danielle has a little grasp of what you do, but for those who may not know, obviously you're a musician and mixer.
Engineer.
I'm not even going to say it, because the last time we spoke about this on my podcast, I got so confused. So I'm going to let you just give us an intro into you and your like creative background.
Yeah, man. So I'll start. Do you want me to keep it quite brief?
No, go for it. No, we've got time, baby.
I don't really have a name for what I do. That's the weird thing. There's no name. I think when I used to have a name as like, oh, I'm a singer, it kind of always went downhill from there, because it was like, I kind of was fixated on one thing. When I kind of realized that I actually have, I wouldn't say more than one talent, but I can pick up more than one skill. That's kind of where doors start to open, because there's way more. If 4 doors closes, if you've got 10 open, bro, there's still 6 open. Wow, my maths is atrocious, but I think that was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, what I'm trying to say. Yeah, sick. So what I do is I work for a company called Avid, probably one of the coolest audio companies. They do a lot more than audio, but I work for a company called Avid. So my journey started off with Avid about 2 years ago. I started off in an admin role. And yeah, I started with an admin role. But the way that I knew Avid was I was obsessed with this guy called Drake. I don't know if you guys know it. So I was always obsessed with Drake. Bro, I had a trim like Drake. I tried acting like Drake.
Every Asian Don from 2012 to 2015, they were pushing it hard, bro. They were pushing it hard.
Fake cut and everything, bro. That was me. So I tried it and stuff, and like then I got obsessed with kind of the sound, man, the sound that they were coming out with. And then I always tried using that Logic and stuff, right, which is music software that a lot of people use, great software. I had to get like a little Mac Mini. I remember when I was about 14, 15, I had to kind of save up money. My parents had no idea why I'm kind of saving up to buy this little box to put into like my box room and make music with. I had no idea why I was doing it. So that was kind of where I started from. And then from there, I saw that Drake's engineer was using this thing called Pro Tools. And I was like, what is Pro Tools, man? So I had to kind of like really go into kind of like looking at why people are using Pro Tools, why it's this industry standard thing. I got obsessed with it for some reason. I had no idea what it was. I bought it, paid £200, bought it out of my pocket and stuff, but I still had no idea to use it. Unis happened. I've studied on Logic and Ableton and all these other things. And then it came to like when I finished uni and I did my master's in like creative economics, actually, which was pretty cool. And then I kind of decided to do, then I got a job at Avid, right, as like an admin role. And I wouldn't say I lied, but I kind of was like, oh my God, yeah, I know how to use Pro Tools, but I really didn't have an idea, but I wanted to know. But again, it was all about kind of talking to the right people and networking and being positive. And I think what I realized and what I kind of would love to tell people is education is one thing, definitely have that, but having like a voice is quite important as well in the creative sector, man, and being able to talk. And I believe energy a lot. So at the minute, I'm working with a guy called Mason the Healer. I think he might be on. Shout out Mason. And basically, he's such an energetic person, bro. In the sense of not energetic in the sense of bubbly and loud, but it's just great energy to be around, you know, and to talk. And we've never met, but we've done sessions virtually. So it's just good to have great energy. And I think that's what helped me progress into audio. So when I realized I wanted to be kind of into audio and become like a audio specialist, was kind of when I finished my admin role, and I was like, look, I want to own audio, you know, I want to work in the music creation sector, and I want to help producers, I want to help engineers, I want to be very technical and very knowledgeable about technology as well. So kind of that's where it happened, man. So my original title is audio specialist, audio solution specialist for music creation. So that's kind of my actual title to my name. As well as that, I'm a mix engineer and a master engineer. More mix engineer because mastering is just my little hobby. Mixing is what I love. I've become a fan of it. So I can see that Shri actually is one of my colleagues. He's joined on and he's amazing Bollywood mixer, huge. So yeah, so I've learned a lot of stuff from here, a lot of stuff from my colleagues and stuff. Yeah, man, and that's kind of where I got to now. And now I kind of like teaching people, talking to people, and helping other people, man, because I think it's quite important. You know?
Okay.
What's quite interesting is obviously you said you started saying you were a singer and you had an interest in music. So we're assuming that growing up, your passion, you always had an interest in music, but then it's really kind of interesting how you had like a vivid kind of interest in the technical side of it and like just being curious about what goes on behind the scenes. What was that similar growing up as well? Were you just always curious about how things worked, or did that something come as a natural progression?
I think so. I think when I was younger, I remember kind of like I used to be very kind of like I was quite quiet and I had a lot of like, I wouldn't say kind of anxiety when I was growing up. And I think like music helped me, well, singing and songwriting helped me kind of get out of my anxiety thing. So I spoke about this recently actually on one of my good friend Abra's his name Instagram's Al Bishi basically. We spoke about kind of mental health and how important it is and kind of how I got out of my my anxiety situation that I was in when I was younger. And that was by singing and songwriting. So I started to kind of get out of my shell by singing and songwriting, but I didn't want it to be a real thing. I just did it because I was like, oh, I've got nothing else to do. And people started to like me from it. So I thought, oh, I'll do it again, man. That's pretty cool. People on Facebook liked it and all my friends liked it. So it was quite cool. But yeah, man. And then I think I was technical because I remember I always wanted to drive a car when I was younger and I had like Lego. So I always wanted to kind of try building a mechanical car with Lego that had nothing to do, no electrics in it at all, bro. It was just Lego. And I remember as a child, I was always a bit like, wow, how would that work? So I think that helped me kind of getting in my mind, like, oh, how do things work? And how do you get an end result and stuff like that? So yeah, man, I think that's kind of where
another little shout out because we've got more people joining. Shout out to Eva, to Sangeeta. I think it's Sangeeta already. Rima, Tony's here, Aaron. We see you all. Thank you. Keep the comments.
Man like Harry says Drake and Kanye are the reasons why I make music. Bad man.
Yeah.
Bless up.
Realistic says myself and Gaurav connected through Instagram. He's such a top quality guy, man. Wow, what kind of fake persona are you putting out to these people, bro?
Quite polite, man.
They actually meet you, bro. No, you guys are right, man. Top quality guy. But so obviously now music is basically your life, right, bro? You obviously you're a singer. You have the kind of like specialist audio technicality side of it as well. But when did it must have come to a phase where you're like, raw, I can actually do this for a living? Because obviously growing up, you always have a dream. And sometimes that dream is shattered and you end up doing something else for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
In some cases, hopefully, you're able to do that for a living. And obviously, I'm guessing that's something that's happened to you. I know, obviously, I'm on the path of that as well. I'm sure Danielle as well. Like, we're all lucky, all three of us actually, that we're doing things that we actually enjoy. Whereas I find it hard to believe that some people live a life where they're doing something every day that they don't like to do. So when was that kind of like switch or that mentality switch in your mind? Like, was there a stage where you're like, right, you know what, I can actually like make a living out of this. I can actually make money from this. And like, what made you continue to pursue that goal throughout all the hardship? Because there are testing times on every journey and some people crack at the first hurdle. So what allowed you to pursue through all those hurdles to get to where you are now and, beyond?
It's yeah, bro, like, great question, by the way. I think it's like, bro, I think as a child, it's kind of different to now. And like the advice that I give to people now is so different because I didn't have this whole algorithm situation when I was younger. I didn't have, right now, there's so many tools and so many jobs in music and audio and what we do as creatives that you can actually make a living. But back then, like, it was more like, I didn't have no other choice in that sense. Like, luckily my parents allowed me to do whatever I want. Went to uni, studied music, and kind of, I knew there was going to be an end goal at the end of it because I had no other choice. A lot of people told me that you need to do something to fall back on, and I ignored them completely. And I was like, but why? There will be something, like, and I always believed that there will be. So from there, I think it was drive, man. I was always kind of just always focused on kind of learning. But it wasn't like the education, like I said before, is great, but it didn't actually get me to kind of where I was today. I had to learn everything kind of myself, and that was because I wanted to learn. And I feel like it's not like anyone could do something, but you can, because like it's that 10,000 hour rule, man. If you put your head to something, you keep learning it, you will get better at it. Like it's a standard thing. Like 2 years ago, I was not good at kind of mixing as much as I am now, and that's because I keep doing it every day. I do it. I practice. I read, and I kind of cut out little things that I know that I shouldn't do, because it will take up too much time of my day,
bro.
So I replace it with something else, man. I try reading articles. And investment in yourself is so important, man. It's so important. The more you invest in yourself, you will get it out eventually. It might take a while, but you will get it out of yourself, you know. People are scared to put money down to invest in themselves, but it's like, why do you expect someone else to be paying for you if you can't pay for yourself? If that makes sense.
Wow. Yeah, wow.
Like some people, like we're used to seeing the Kanyes and the stuff, and they've done, and I use Kanye as my example because I really look up to Kanye West, Steve Jobs, and all these people that are really high, but they also live that kind of like invest in themselves life, bro. They had to live it. Do you know what I mean? So I say to a lot of people is like, invest in yourself, man. Like actually shout out Manish Cave. So he's my cousin. He started music production. He didn't do it for a while, but then he thought, you know what? I want to invest back in it, man. I want to do music, but it's different to how it was back then, where you could kind of just, you can learn and you're young, but now you can actually pay £300-400 for courses and actually start learning production properly, like how you'd learn it at a high level. So, and I think he smashed it because he's actually gone and learned something. And I think a lot of people should be doing that, is investing in themselves. Like if you like something, if you want to pursue it, you need to invest in it, you know?
It's so true, bro. Like to butt in, bro. But
yeah,
it's like, the way I see things now is like I put things into perspective with money. Like, for example, I wanted to buy a £200 tracksuit, but then I was like, okay, I've got to buy this thing which will benefit me in the long run and improve my skills. So if I take the money I wanted to put in that tracksuit, I'm happy to drop £2 on a tracksuit, but I'm questioning spending £250 on something that will benefit me personally. That's the kind of mentality we have as humans. It's messed up, bro. It is messed up, bro. I'm scrolling through my phone on N looking at Air Forces that are £85-90. I'm thinking, yeah, but man would drop that. Man's going down here looking, and I won't even spend like £10 on something that will benefit me. So it's the kind of mentality we have to break out of as humans. And the only one that's going to benefit is ourselves, man. Literally, we have to. I think we grow up with a mentality where we think that, you know, we're going to be an employee. It's cool. Like we work for someone else. We'll get our, you know, our stable monthly income, calm. We'll do our thing. We'll celebrate on the weekend. But that is, if you want to do that, hands up, cool, do your thing in it, bro. But I think a lot of people our age, I think our generation between 25 and 32 now are like, wow, this is not the way we want to live our lives, man. We want to own our own business. We want to be the CEO of our own company. And like you said, the accessibility is there. 10 years ago, we couldn't find all these courses, these YouTube videos. It's all at the tip of our fingers, bro. It's all there. All we have to do is open up a browser. Instead of typing in best gun loadout on Warzone, type in flipping best audio settings for Premiere Pro or like whatever, because obviously I edit on Premiere Pro. So like you saying that again has just like reinforced that in my mind for sure. Like it's crazy to think that, and I don't blame anyone as well for doing it, because it's a natural human response, because we're trained, we're like kind of like brought up to think like that. But it's about kind of realizing, okay, now is the time where I need to focus on myself and get to where I want to be. And it's never too late to do that, by the way. I think one thing that's really interesting as well is not everyone wants to be a CEO, or not everyone really. Some people have goals that involve working for a big company, and that gives them a lot of satisfaction. That's great. I think the main thing is if you're not going to own a company that you work for, own the decision that you've made to go in the direction that you want to go. Like, I think that's a important thing, that really sit down and ask yourself. Sometimes the hardest person to talk to is yourself, because you can't bullshit yourself. You can have like a half an hour convo with someone and make them feel like you're doing this and you know this guy and you know that. But when you look at yourself in the mirror and ask yourself what's important to you or what you want to get out of life, it's very rare that you get an opportunity to bullshit yourself. So I think just kind of taking time out now and again just to reset and really think, everything that I'm doing so far, is that something that I would have advised myself to do a couple of months back? All right, if it's yes, then great, carry on, see how you can improve. And if it's not, then kind of just take a bit of time to reevaluate. What do you think, Gaurav?
Completely agree, man. I completely agree. I wouldn't say anything extra. That's literally what I'd be saying. So,
Yeah, awesome.
We actually got some comments here, some more comments. So Obi, the producer, says you need to be obsessed with what you do to get you through.
Yeah.
Well, I am. So I'm guessing he's doing his thing.
You got
Harry Billen says, yeah, I agree. I'm in finance now and music is my outlet, which I'm taking more seriously now. Yeah. Good for you, Harry, bro. Micah Stars. Yep. Realistic said something very, very interesting. It goes, it takes a genius to get paid to do something that they'll do for free.
Yeah, nice.
And Abra says, I had to create a YouTube account just to comment the things I do for you, Gaurav.
Fan club.
That's the guy that was saying about mental health. So he does a lot of the mental health stuff. So I spoke to him.
We can touch on that. I just want to read one more comment. It's from Realistic again. And this is probably the most telling one. It's like, always try and be better, a better version of you. I'm reading it wrong, bro. Always try to be a better you tomorrow than you were yesterday.
Yeah.
His energy, bro.
Day by day, you know what I'm saying? If you're writing bars, write an extra verse that more than you did the day before. If you were learning something about Premiere Pro, learn a second track, just take it step by step. This is something I'm guilty of as well. I used to think of the final picture, you know what I'm saying? I used to envision like the finish line before I'd even, past the initial crossing, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like, you got to take it one step at a time. And if you continue those steps, eventually you will finish and complete the marathon.
So that leads us on to a good point, Gaurav. How did you go from being curious or being interested in learning about something like Pro Tools to being certified as a Pro Tools specialist? First of all, tell us, give us the definition of what a Pro Tools specialist is, and then just take us on the journey of how you went from having an interest in it to becoming a certified specialist.
Okay, so all right, so cool, man. So I mean, going from kind of my interest of growing up and seeing the biggest engineers kind of that are using it and the producers and stuff like that, I always looked up to them, and I never thought that I could be like them, but I wanted to be like them. I wanted to be that producer. I wanted to be that 40 and stuff like that. And now, touch wood, like the contact with them is just like there, and it's nothing different. They are just people. I speak to huge names like every couple of days, man. People, that blue tick, it doesn't mean anything. Like, it's great. I mean, it's fantastic to have it, but it's nothing special. Like, these people, they're just people with a lot of knowledge, So so a specialist is basically knowing the product very well. So Pro Tools is in pretty much every big studio that you can work in. So that could be either, that could be post-production, like movies and stuff like that. It could be audio, it could be music studio. You'll see Pro Tools because it's just so easy to use. A lot of people think, oh, it's intimidating, or they're like, oh no, like, what is this, man? It's different. It's not, it's when you open it up, you're kind of like, you kind of got to get your head around kind of the old analog style stuff. But once you get your head around it, you're kind of like, wow, this is amazing, and it works really well. So that's kind of where I started from, was kind of learning the software kind of day in, day out. But when I mean learning, I don't mean kind of 3 hours. I mean, I was absolutely, I think it was Realistic who said obsessed. I was absolutely obsessed with the software, man, where I mean, like, I would be sleeping, breathing, waking up, reading books on it, and just making sure, because my colleagues and stuff are so knowledgeable, and I wanted to make sure that I can match up to them. And they're great. They've had so much experience, man. They've done so much stuff in the industry, music, movies, post-production. So it was kind of like, I was more like the young guy who kind of like wants to do the same, but it was hard for me to match up. So kind of I found my own avenue in music production and creation, and using tools to make beats and to make music and stuff like that. So I think a great way to explain kind of my journey was to be obsessed with what I wanted to do, and then the doors open, and then I don't like every day. I don't feel like, oh my God, I'm doing something I love, because I've made it a target to still get higher. It still won't stop. I won't sit there and be like, yeah, you know what, I'm settled now, let me chill. It's like, wait, so if I'm doing that now, I want to do this in 2 years' time. How do I get to that point? How do I be there?
Nice.
Like, working with such a great company around such great energy, I'm allowed to do kind of a lot of other stuff as well. So it's pretty cool, man. So that's kind of where I ended up.
and the disciplines, like the disciplines in different creativities. Talk to us about the spaces that you've added your expertise in. What type of industries within the creative industries have you worked in, aside from music? You've worked in movies as well?
So yeah, so I'm not allowed to say too much.
Jeez, I was gonna bring this up, bro, but yeah.
I've done. Yeah, I know you were. I've done some sound. To be fair, it's on my Insta. I can't say more than what's on there. I mean, I've done some sort of sound stuff for Avatar 2, which is coming out. It's kind of hush hush at the minute. It was kind of a project that was done actually from uni days, man. I kind of kept my mouth kind of really quiet. It was like a subsidiary of a big kind of post house, and I kind of just applied for it. And I worked with like 4 guys internationally, made some stuff happen, and luckily got accepted for it. So it's not, it kind of just, it's something that I can put on my CV. It's going to be, hopefully it's going to be out in 2021 December. It's going to be sick. I'm excited for it. A lot of people are excited for it. I think, yeah, man, it's going to be great. So that's kind of like my first way in, and the way that I kind of, it's kind of weird. Like I don't know how to explain it, but I didn't kind of, that door was not kind of something that was easy. And it's not something that I'd say it just opened up and I walked in. It was kind of like I said, start this conversation, cold call marketing is never going to be wrong. Like cold call marketing, man, if you DM 100 people, I promise you one person will reply. Like, and that's kind of what I did back in the day. And I still do it till this day, man. If I want something, so I've got a lot of sponsors who sponsor me with microphones, speakers. A lot of stuff in the studio is done by sponsoring, and it's just because I'm direct with them, man. I'm kind of directing messages at them like, hey, man, look, listen, this is what I do. I want to try your product. Can I try it? They'll send it over, kind of thing. So, yeah, man.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And so within the more traditional spaces like the music as well, you said you can't just casually drop that name and then just move on. So you said you've had contact with the OVO camp as well. Fill us in that. I guess fill us in, not so that we can go, oh wow, look at this, what a name drop, but just to show people that look, someone that is from a background like theirs, someone that is interested in the same things that they do, does things that might sound crazy to you, but they are real things that can happen. Talk to us about it.
Yeah, bro. I mean, like, so it's just basically like, again, it's just so obviously working in more of a technical side into and obviously working for kind of software and hardware that a lot of people out there use in the industry. It's a little bit easier for me to be in contact with them because we have a relationship, we have a bond already. So it's like, they love Pro Tools. I work for Pro Tools. I love Pro Tools. So it's kind of like, yeah, we can talk already. So from there, it's kind of easy. I think with the OVO camp, it was quite easy. Not easy, sorry. It was quite difficult. I approached one of the members that Drake kind of was quite in contact with just before I went to Germany about a year ago, I think it was. And luckily they were in Germany at that time. One of them came over to, I think we were in Berlin. And I just spoke to him. And they had an issue with one of their kind of Pro Tools systems, and it got working in the end, and something good happened and it worked. And kind of that's where I built that relationship. That was kind of an easy thing. But again, it was just like speaking, man. It was just direct. Like I wasn't afraid to enter the DM. I wasn't scared because that's why it's there for. If it wasn't there, then if there was no DM, if there was no option to DM someone, then it wouldn't be there. It's there for a reason. If they don't reply, that's their fault because they've probably got too many messages.
Yeah.
Everyone has a manager in this industry. Everyone has an email address. Everyone has a DM. That's the way I see it. One of them 3 you can get hold of, man. Most recent, I was in LA in January. I was with Trap Money Benny, who you guys might know of. Kiki. And again, I spoke to his manager. Straight up, messaged him, hey bro, what you saying? They invited me to the studio. Had a great chat with them. And yeah, man, then I met like Young Thug's engineer. And again, it was the same thing. Just kind of approached, kept that relationship going. And it's just literally approaching the right people in your industry. Yeah. They are there for a reason. They've also gone through a journey. So they're not going to disrespect you. The only people that might neglect you and might say, sorry, is the people who are out there and the front face of what's happening. But behind the front face, there's a lot of people in the back that you can get to. If you want to get through to an artist, there's about 100 people working behind the artist, as producers, engineers, and there's so much stuff out there that you can go on. Like there's a website called Sound Better that if you write in Kanye West, it will tell you every engineer that's on there.
Wow.
But Kanye West, you can go and Instagram these people individually. Go find them, go tweet them, go email them. They've only got like 200, 300 followers. They're not out there.
Yeah.
That's nice.
I think it's interesting that you said. Sorry to cut you off, bro. I'm assuming what you are trying to say in a roundabout way as well is that, of course, approach people, but don't try and think that if you're a friendly face without any substance to what you do, that things are just going to happen. I think why you're so confident in approaching people is because first and foremost you've put in the hours, and you know that if they put you in. If they put you in the deep end, there's nothing that would kind of phase you about it. So I think that really shows how important it is that when you're trying to get into a certain craft, it's just as important to kind of actually focus on being good at what you do, as opposed to just kind of trying to DM the inspiration that you have and saying, hey, can we work together? Because they've got a million people doing that. But what are you going to do what are you going to do in the time when they're not in contact with you? You've got to master your craft. And I think that's what gives you, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that's what maybe gives you that edge and that confidence to go and approach people, because you are about what you say you're about. So I think there's a real important lesson in that.
I think that's so true, man. I think it's so important to like just know what you're talking about. You got to have a niche. That's another thing, is that you got to have a niche. If you're doing something they're doing, like I was doing back in the day, they were singing something. I was like, yeah, I want to sing. I want to go online. I want to put it on YouTube. And I was doing exactly, and it never worked. It never worked, bro. I'll get views. I'll get whatever. And so this is a great point that I wanted to kind of mention. And I told people to tune into this, is like, don't go like, there's always going to be the argument of kind of, I didn't get enough views and I'm not getting this, One thing about YouTube, which is great, is anyone can sign up to be on YouTube. Yeah, that's one thing. And what I've learned now, bro, is sorry, this is probably going so off topic.
Go for it.
But kind of like you can create videos and whatever you need to do, singing, whatever, you can get 100 views, you can create 15, 20 videos, whatever you need to do. And you'll still earn revenue from it. A lot of people stop at the point where they don't, where they think, I didn't get enough views, man, so I'm going to stop here. I'm not getting enough views. You don't need to worry about that. There's still things out there that can get you revenue, man. You could be you can jump in a partner program after obviously you need a few thousand subscribers. You need great content. You need to, so there's a great person on here, actually. I saw him. So Wavy Wayne, amazing guy, man. Greatest engineering tips. My first time I learned was from Wavy Wayne. Met him in LA as well. Great dude. And he does so much videos, and I picked up on that because when I was a child, I always wanted to kind of do YouTube videos and jump on YouTube, but I always stopped at the point I wasn't getting enough views. And when I got views, I was getting 50,000 views and singing stuff, but nothing was happening. Nothing was happening because I wasn't giving content that was original, it was creative, it was out there. So kind of my advice is learn your craft, and again, invest in yourself. So invest in camera equipment, lighting, and stuff like that. And then obviously then start putting out videos. And even if you get 100 videos, if they're original content and they're real, your stuff that you've put together, you've already invested in making your craft the best of your ability so you can go and show people, then you're calm. You're going to get revenue back eventually. But if you're doing something, you're not really good at it, and you're kind of like half-heartedly doing it because they're doing it, and you're like, oh, he's doing it, so let me show people that I can do it too. You don't know your craft properly. You need to learn it to the maximum potential that you think, you know what, this is gold, man. This is gold now.
I've got a few questions to lead on from that, but I'm going to go to the comments because we've got quite a few.
Yeah.
Shout out to Mason Healing, who says, beautiful talk. I agree, refreshing. We've got Joseph Campbell, says, big up, Gaurav. Your hustle and work, I think, is inspiring me daily. Understand that. You've got Kabir, who's back. Please sing Kiki, Do You Love Me Again?
Jeez. At the after party.
Shek's here, big up Shek. Realistics dropping some gems. He goes, a key thing I learned to my growth is understanding what I am good at and what I am not good at.
Yeah.
Finding people to fill in the gaps where you don't, where you're not good at, and you can succeed together. Don't be scared to have a team.
And I think that Rio, big up my guy, because I think that I think all three of us, no matter what level we're at, or you could speak to anyone, you could speak to the biggest artist in the world, you could speak to someone just starting out. The value of being able to just ask for help, or the value of being able to say, hey, I don't know exactly what I'm doing. Do you know what you're doing? Is there something that you can add to this? Sometimes that can really elevate things that you do. And actually taking it from my personal experience, little things like that have been able to kind of put Urban Panda as a brand in some really cool situations. Like a lot of people look at it and go, oh wait, but you've not got, like, for example, 100,000 subscribers or whatever like that. How are you putting on an event at YouTube's headquarters in London? Well, it's because there was a few people that I spoke to. I was like, right, can you work on this for me? Can you work on this for me? Can you make sure that there's visual aids so the event looks amazing? Can you make sure that there's the sound's up to scratch so it looks amazing? So then all I needed to focus on is getting DJ Target to come down, and then I needed to focus on me myself making sure I delivered a wicked interview and just doing the event justice. So Rio, that's an incredible point, bro. Never be afraid to kind of build a team, and never be afraid to kind of look out there and see, right, who is the front leader. If I wanted something in the audio world, and I was thinking, right, I want something for this project. If I didn't know, like, I'd email Gaurav and I'd say, Gaurav, this is what I'm working on. What can you add to this? And you never know the heights that it can take you to, man.
Bro, I think that's such a valid point, man. And just going off that, man, kind of like just how you said is like, it's even that whole 100,000 subscriber thing is great, it's fantastic, but there's so many ways now of being like, I used to think, oh my God, I need to get a certain amount of followers. And like, I'm not gonna lie, it was great having the followers there, it was fantastic, but it didn't lead me to today. What led me today was obviously having a voice and again, networking with the right people. So what Rio said, and I'm going off that, bro, building a team and just having, so not even scrap the team word even, but just having people around you. So last year I met someone who's great, which is, his name is Veroz, sick artist, great songwriter. And I think when I heard him first time, it blew me away, man. I was like, yo, what the hell? Like, how are you not discovered? And we always have this conversation about kind of like artists discovering and stuff. And he's such a hard worker, man. It's him and his Bajaj, who's like a producer. You guys have seen, probably I've mixed a lot of his records and stuff. He does great records. And bro, we've just created a friendship, relationship, brothership, whatever it's called, with us three, where we are kind of building and helping each other. But it's not that team where we're kind of stepping on top of each other and kind of, you know, it's kind of like, yo, bros, I need you to do this, bro. I need someone who's vocals. We need to pitch this. We need to do that. So we've had meetings in the past. We've gone to big record labels. Again, before that, I used to think, oh, that's the approach I need to go to, record labels. And people like Bajad and Rose helped me think, that's not the vision that I have. I want to make music. I want to focus on the content. I want to work on the actual art, you know? Had these meetings, and then I was upset thinking, oh, wait, why did nothing happen after this? Why did they not holler me? Like, I was in, like, so I was next door to the room showing my music when Stormzy's manager was next door showing his music. So I was in Atlantic Records. And then a couple of days later, I was a bit upset because nothing came my way. So I was like, wait, this is ridiculous. I thought our music was great, but I kind of learned to focus in on my team, on what we think. And like, you know, we kind of have a bubble now. We're kind of like, we love, obviously, I don't want to say we're not going to work with anyone. We love working with people and stuff like that, which is great. But we are in our own vision now. We're visioning it in our own pathway. And I think that's important, is let go of what other people are doing. They're going to do other stuff. Younger people than us are always going to do better. Older people than us are always going to do better. If you like have your own pathway that you can go along, I promise you will have no issues. The second you start thinking, oh, but he's my age, why is he doing it so good? Bro, you're going to start dropping. And I think now, with us three specifically, we've just vision now. We're on that pathway. And every day we're looking at new marketing strategies. And that doesn't mean kind of getting this many views. Again, like we're looking at Spotify playlists, we're looking at curators. Me personally, I use LinkedIn to my advantage. And again, everyone who's listening, if you're interested, and what I do is specifically go to record labels and go connect with the A&Rs, the finance directors, the CFOs, the CTOs, because that connect button is there for a reason. I'm not going to shy away. If they decline it, they decline it. But if I add 10 people on LinkedIn, I guarantee you at least 3 will accept it. The other 7 might just be pricks in it. But right, I've tried.
Like going off your points as well, man. This whole South Asian creatives thing, like, building a team. Me and Danielle, we met randomly at an event, and like going back to like networking and stuff like that. I had this idea for like years. Danielle had a similar vision, and until I met him, like this, I don't think any of this would ever happen, bruv. And like meeting people like him, this guy's so well connected, bruv. Like literally, he's done such a good job with his brand, with his like networking. Like I fully rate this guy, and I've never like from meeting him in January, like it's my bro, innit, man. I got mad love for him. Obviously you as well, Gaurav. But it just goes into, I just want to emphasize the point of like meeting people and building teams and just having people around you that kind of push you as well. Because he definitely pushes me to make sure like I get stuff done. And I hope I do the same for him as well. Keep you on your toes.
Yeah, of course.
So, yeah, I just want to give you a quick shout out. Do you know what I'm saying? Also, we've got to appreciate the fresh trim and the beard that he is rocking today, bro.
Come on, bro.
Fresh, bro, I'm not even going to show this crazy.
That's what I was going to say. You're wearing a hat, blood.
Oh.
Man got Jerry curls under that hat, blood.
Why not?
We actually have a question, which I think will be fantastic if we aim it towards you, Gaurav. Jazz Karen says, my boyfriend makes music, but he can't keep his groove going. Right now, he's on a good wave of making music, but what could he do to keep himself from getting a block? What advice could you give him?
Good question.
So I get that quite a lot. Okay, so the best thing that I could say to you is, Jazz Karen, if he's doing it on his own and he's getting a block, fantastic, because I know people who are in teams of about 40 songwriters and they still get blocks. So it's a very normal thing. We all get songwriting blocks. You know, I work, like I said, the team that I work with, we get songwriting blocks. Bro, we've got records that are sitting there that are potential bangers, but we still haven't polished them. So that's always going to happen. The advice is carry on. And again, I go back to the whole point of, if there's something kind of like, if you're looking at, oh, why am I getting songwriting block? YouTube, find different things. And then if it's not a musical thing that's going to help you, music is like art. So go look at art, go look at stuff that's going to help you kind of open up your mind. A thing that I do a lot is I brainstorm. So I have like a whiteboard. I write a name on there. I write like a topic and I just brainstorm different things on there. I don't have a whiteboard, but I do it on the iPad. Daniel, you probably do a similar thing, I reckon, bro.
Whiteboards. If I could give one fucking advice, go on Amazon and buy a whiteboard. Yes. Are you mad?
Look at that. Look at that.
That is incredible. Yes.
Got the whiteboard. Got the whiteboard covered.
Anyone can have it. Even use your phone, the notes, whatever. Start your brain flowing, man. Just let it flow. And sometimes if a certain song or something is not working out, just this is bad, and I kind of recommend it, but I don't. If you spent too long in it, you don't think it's going to work, make a folder of just ideas. You know, put a folder of just ideas that you can put ideas into. And one day, if someone says, bro, if you got a folder of ideas or a catalog of ideas, you've got this folder of ideas, you know. You can't put it, you've tried it for a year, 2 years, 3 years, it's not working out. You still can. You can still have a folder of ideas.
And I guess sometimes as well, when you're so deep into a creative process, one of the things is as well, it's an emotional thing because you're emotionally invested in this art because you actually care about it. Sometimes if you feel like, I don't know how you guys feel about this, but sometimes if you're getting a bit of a block or you're finding your rhythm is stifled, sometimes it's good to just step away. Like even if it's going for a walk, even if it's like just reading a book that's got nothing to do with music, even if it's like you said, looking at art, like even looking at inspiration, like, oh, do you know what? I want some new art for my bedroom or my living room, checking out some art, just doing something that detaches yourself from it. When you come back, you might find that you've got a bit of clearer perspective and it's less cloudy up there. And then you can just make some magic happen, you know?
Yeah, bro, 100%. There's so many ways to open up your brain in a creative process. And another thing I always say is not everyone is creative, you know, like sometimes, like, this is not directed at anyone, but like kind of, I mean, with singing itself, when I saw, I mean, touch wood, I'm a great singer, I can do well with it, but I realized it wasn't my career because I was like, there's too much competition. I can't find a niche in it, you know? Sometimes you got to be honest with yourself. That's another thing, is be honest with yourself and do something around that, you know. There's going to be other jobs around it. Like if you want to, like I want to do singing enough, I found a love in audio. It's still music. It's not the same as being the front face, but I'm still in the back. I'm still there. And you know, so sometimes you got to be honest with yourself as well and realize, you know what, this ain't my thing, man. Let me just sit back.
And I use the metaphor of like everyone wants to be a footballer. So for example, for every one footballer, there's a manager, coach, physio, dietitian that grew up with that same dream. Life took them one or two different directions, but they used the knowledge or the passion they have for that one thing. And they said, right, what can I bring to this? Like what qualities can I bring to making the championship team? And like you said, Gaurav, like you're saying that singing is, so if you compare the singer to the footballer, you looked behind the scenes and goes, right, what strings can I pull or what can I add to make this team a championship winning team. So 100%, man, there's always more ways to look at it.
Yeah, I think like going off that, bro, just like researching and kind of, like I said, investing and all that kind of stuff is one thing. And also kind of like just looking at what's missing and finding a niche is very important. What I realized, obviously, I was kind of thankful was there wasn't no engineers. I didn't learn how to, I couldn't find anywhere to mix. I didn't know where it was so easy. And this is how kind of like when you think of apps, right? Like Uber Eats or no, not Uber Eats, but Uber, when that came out, is because it was a niche. It was something new. And it's the same with kind of what I do. When I was singing, I was like, oh man, I don't know how to approach for mixing. What is mixing? How do I even learn mixing? And then as I started to love it, and that's why, touch wood, like recognition came in the mixing world specifically. And going back to why I had contact with OVO and stuff like that was so easier, because it's a niche. Like, why is a random guy from West London, Hayes, gonna contact OVO? Jeez.
Oh, yeah, are you from Hayes?
Hayes, bro.
Jeez, my mum lives on Roseville Road.
Oh wow.
Straight off the north. Hey, gang.
Oh, sick. That's
like our local, bro. We can go have some kebabs together.
Yeah. Hey, why kebabs? Why not pie and mash, mate? Why not 2 pints and a
Sorry, I forgot to mention JD for Gaurav as well. Bro.
Yeah.
I did have a cheeky one earlier, not gonna lie.
Yeah.
People are paying homage to your footballing analogy. They're saying it's a really good analogy.
Man,
Yes.
Abra and Joseph Campbell.
Bless up.
Big facts right there, Urban Panda.
Bless up.
Also, earlier in the comments, someone showed their appreciation for your shirt as well. So.
Oh, my shirt. Oh, bro, what, my shirt? Or
yeah, your shirt.
You know, yeah. Listen, you know me. Do you know what I mean? Like, big up Matalan.
So, Gaurav, let's obviously you're doing your thing still within quarantine, and I suppose you found it maybe a bit easier than some people to maintain that creativity. But for people who, I suppose you've touched on it as well with the whole creative block thing, but are there any things, tips or tricks you've picked up to remain creative? Obviously not being able to see other people. I suppose you said you do Zoom sessions now as well. Obviously it's quite difficult because we like to be face to face.
But I think, yeah. So what is your daily routine in lockdown? What do you do on a normal average day?
Good question, bro. So it's really weird. Actually, I was going to touch base on this. I've just recently during lockdown started to do meditation.
Okay.
That's not that's not kind of sitting there just going, there's way more than that. And I think it's more to like find my soul and see what I'm doing from the outside. And again, it's like, again, going off the artists I'm working with, Mason, great artist, great energy. And I kind of wanted to do what he was doing, but I didn't know why people did it. I'm quite a positive person, but I do have, like I said, what you see on Instagram, what you see on socials, it's not always real. You know, if I'm doing something, it's not directly, I'm doing it at that time. So don't be fooled by what people do on Instagram. And another thing about Instagram that I forgot to mention is anyone can have thousands of followers. So please don't believe that either. You know, please. It's so easy to buy followers these days. Don't be fooled by what you see. That's one thing. Anyway, besides the point. So my routine, bro, I get up in the morning. I try doing 10 minutes of meditation. So I try just doing like a morning meditation in quiet and just hearing myself breathe. It starts the day, man. It gives me a bit of positivity. I've got some nice background music on. And it starts my day. And I try that between 8 and 9 a.m. Then I'll start my day by checking my emails. I stay away from the news. That's very important. I stay away from the news. Obviously, with what's going on at the moment, it's hard to stay away from the news. You want to stay current with it. But for myself, if I get too much negativity in my brain, I will just lock off. I will just be quiet. I won't talk to anyone. And I find it very hard to get out of that box again. I wouldn't say it's not depression. It's nothing like that. It's just that I get very boxed in. So I have to have that energy all the time to keep me going. So the mornings, I try to meditate now. I've been doing it for about 3-4 weeks now. I feel great in the mornings. As well as that, I kind of, I check my emails and start doing my work. So obviously I've got a lot of technical stuff that I have with work itself. I'm doing a lot of webinars, a lot of like training and stuff like that. And yeah, so I'm trying to stay on top of that in the mornings. Go out and then I kind of go for walks and the daily exercise thing, you know, I still try keeping current with that. And then kind of comes to about 5, 6, I start having a bit of a break, try doing some more exercise if I've got time. And then I kind of, I go into my mixing or mastering mode, let's say. and I see what projects are open, which are not got to do with kind of my Pro Tools stuff in a day. See who's songwriting and what everyone's doing in my team or the creatives around me, and connect to them and see what's, obviously this is on the basis that I don't have projects due.
Yeah.
You know, if I've got projects, if I've got a mixing project, or like I've had a mastering project, and it might drag out 5 days, you know, so it varies. But another thing that's very important is a things to do list that I do every night before I go sleep for the next day. So I have to write on there what I want to do for the next day, you know. So I might do like, okay, I want to mix this song or get it 75% ready. I want to learn about this. I want to learn about that. So make sure that I kind of get everything structured for the next day.
I think that's so underrated. Like yeah, I've got a things to do list on notes. Yeah. And this actually sounds really silly, but I genuinely mean this from the bottom of my heart. The gratitude or the self gratification you get from being able to tick off one by one the things that you wanted to do, and then actually looking at that list at the end of the day and looking like at a full list of ticked off things is it helps you focus so much, and it's actually so satisfying. Like it's such a good sense of achievement.
I was just going to add that as well. I've started keeping lists because I'm the type of guy that will start so many different things and then have so many things to do and then end up not doing half of that shit because I'm flipping too stressed about remembering what I'm trying to do. So yeah, I've literally started doing lists, working my way through it one by one, and genuinely, like Danielle said, bro, you feel so good afterwards. And you have to be realistic with your list as well. You can't put 100 things down and expect to finish them all in a day. Like, it's about prioritizing as well. So you finish the things that's due by midday, then after that, you finish the things that are due by the end of the day, and then you have stuff that's due for the rest of the week, and you kind of like wait, you maybe start doing an hour of that during the day. So yeah, just emphasizing the fact that lists are like imperative for most people, bro. And even if you've got 2 things on your list, like, good, that's a great start. You know what I'm saying? Get those 2 things done. Then you might have got a bit of time for yourself, man. Maybe think about what you're gonna do next week. You know what I'm saying? Like start preparing for that a bit early.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it's just like kind of like improves your whole flow with the whole thing. Gaurav, I want to touch on something quickly. Like your job role entails you going like internationally quite a lot. So like what you go to, I know you go to Germany quite a lot. You said LA. You go to India as well, right?
I went to India last year, yeah, man. So I was in Bollywood. I was with Shri, my colleague who works in a lot of Bollywood stuff. But if my battery runs out, I'm gonna shut the camera, run over to the right, and turn it back on. So if it goes quiet, that means I've gone over there, but I'll still be talking.
Yeah.
So basically, yeah. So that was kind of I'm always traveling. That's kind of what I do actually. So I demonstrate Pro Tools. You know, I show Pro Tools to kind of the world, I'd like to say, and show people how to use it, get people in. And basically, yeah, just talk to engineers and producers around the world, man, and see kind of what people are up to and why they use it, how they use it, and help them further with it, man. And kind of obviously us being specialists, we know the ins and outs of it. We're not here to sell. We're here to kind of help your workflow in the future. Do you know what I mean? Like we want to make sure that you are making the best music. So why are we not going to teach you? So we're going to teach you that. So we do a lot of like the shows in like India, LA. I did like one of the biggest audio shows in LA, which is called NAM. So I was there 5 days with my colleagues around the world. So it was great, man. We had so much fun. We had Quincy Jones at our booth. Like, it was amazing, man.
Wow.
Big names.
I was gonna say, like, how has that been affected, obviously, like with this whole situation? You said you're doing a lot of webinars, so are you like interacting with people internationally through like these kind of apps and stuff?
Yeah. So now I am obviously not traveling. It's the first year in probably 2 years nearly that I'm not traveling for work. Which is, it's a shame because I do like traveling. I do love traveling, to be fair, but I've learned to, again, different workflows, man. And what I'm doing now is helping people. So instead of demoing in front of them, I'm helping them demo just being in my home studio. And, you know, I've got cameras set up, I've got lighting and everything. So I'm just kind of doing what I would normally do on Zoom and several cameras and stuff. And whatever questions they have that they have in person, they can just answer on Zoom. Like the other day I was on Zoom to like Young Thug's team and engineer, great dude, and I was kind of showing him everything just like I'm here with in person. Considering we were only together 3 months ago in LA, but we could do it now remotely. So that's what I'm doing now, really, is kind of adapting to because it's going to be around for a while. I won't be traveling for a long time, just because this is not every country is not going to have the same rules, you know?
Yeah, trust.
But I think it's quite interesting though that you touched on that. This could the creative industry or the workflow industry or the work task for the whole country. Oh, Gaurav's gone to the toilet. You know, this is that part in the nightclub where you've lost Gaurav and then you find it.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
No, but believe it or not, Gaurav, while you're doing that, we've actually been speaking for an hour and a bit, so we're probably going to just round it off pretty soon.
Yeah, of course, man.
What was it? I was going to ask you? Oh yeah, obviously we're called South Asian Creatives.
Yep.
Jeez, quick changes.
I'm back.
Obviously, we're called South Asian Creatives. We want to try and promote obviously creative people with the brown man them like us and gal them as well.
Yeah.
How have you found that kind of representation within your company and within the audio industry itself? Like, do you feel like there are a lot of people who can do similar work to you but are just too afraid to, or have like cultural restrictions, or like how do you suggest people get out of or snap out of that mentality and really pursue what they want to do and end up like in jobs like you or like Daniel or maybe like what I do or whatever? Like, what kind of advice do you give? Wait, hold on, is your audio off? Can you hear us, Gaurav?
Can you hear me? Sorry about that.
Yeah, we can hear you now. Did you hear my question?
Can you repeat it again? Sorry.
I'm just talking about how we increase kind of like South Asian representation within the creative industry, within the audio industry yourself. Like, what kind of advice would you give people like from similar backgrounds as us to kind of like pursue their dreams and not be deterred from like cultural pressures or like maybe even like self-doubt?
I think, bro, like it comes down now, like to me personally, like I don't see kind of like, I think if you love something, you could do it, if that makes sense, you know, like I don't, luckily, thank God I didn't have no issues kind of with audio, you know, with audio, it's a great thing because we speak a language, and that's very important with what I do, is I speak a language. So if I'm talking to someone audio, no matter what they are, where they're from, it can be 70 years old, but we're still going to be using the same stuff and we're still going to be talking the same language. And I feel like it may be like that with someone, I don't know the other industries that it could be like that, but I know that it could be kind of like that with other industries. My advice kind of like for it's just kind of pursue what you want to do, man, and be ready for people to say no.
Yeah.
Please take no as an answer sometimes and find something else. Don't be disheartened. You're always gonna have critique, bro. You're always gonna have people saying kind of like the opposite. And again, I think I've just if you want it bad enough, again.
So I was gonna say, yeah.
So if you want it bad, you're not gonna give up. If you don't want it bad and you're doing other things and you're kind of half-heartedly giving it, if you're putting an hour into something a day, it's not gonna come. You've got 10,000 hours to perfect something. How are you gonna do that by giving an hour out of a day? It's not gonna work. You need to be on the toilet. Like, I'm not even joking to you. I've been in the bathtub listening to podcasts about audio. I've been in the toilet taking a piss and still reading what I was reading when I was out. I don't care. Like, I don't care.
You wash your hands though, bro.
100%, bro. I didn't even touch. Promise. I
No,
was like,
bro, I'm looking away.
just reading away, bro. Just reading away. Like, so there's so many things like you need to, it's not investment financially, but it's also investment with your time. Give up certain things, man. Like, a lot of the times I've missed out certain things by being abroad, but it's because I've had the option to be abroad, but I've gone because I want to do it. I need to show my face because I want it, you know? And I feel like a lot of Asians, it's hard when you're growing up. And I know a lot of Asians have troubles with parents and stuff like that. And this is love to parents. I've grown up with parents that have actually given me freedom to do something, which is fantastic. There's parents out there that don't. And a great producer who I speak to a lot is Illmind, the producer. And he says, sometimes you have to kind of go with your gut instinct over your parents, over anything, because at the end of the day, only you know what's right. Obviously, you got to take into fact what's around you in certain situations, but you've got to do it for yourself. No one's going to do it for you. You're going to do it. And again, watch Illmind stuff because he talks a lot on it. He touches base about it, but like, it's so important to kind of focus on yourself, man. And if you want to do it, why is anyone going to stop?
Make a way and find a way for yourself, man.
Path, yeah, exactly. Create that pathway for yourself, man.
It's 8 o'clock on a Thursday, by the way, so bare people are clapping. So let's do a quick clap for the NHS. Even though it's not going to do much, guys, even the nurses, they're like, help them actually, but I suppose it makes some people. So let's do a quick clap.
We've had a decent turnout today, boys.
Rahul Harish, he might be your cousin or your brother, says he made it.
Brother, my brother.
Oh, Ragan Rahul, you saying? Manvir says, G Studio's looking good. Chris Moses says, don't get married and have kids too young. That's probably a way of stopping yourself from not chasing your dream. And Harry Billen was the one that said that if you want it bad enough, you will make a way.
Harry.
Samir, your cousin as well, says Wagwan too. So yeah.
Oh, that's sad.
Jazz Karan, the one who asked the initial question, says, how have you stayed so humble and grounded? I've been following you since the old days on Twitter. You're still the nicest person. And the one who remembered the Toronto girl's birthday or something like that.
I have no idea. But
big up Toronto.
I think big up Toronto. I think the most important thing really is like being humble with it, because no matter if I had 1,464 followers tomorrow, or whatever I had, bro, it's just I'm still a human. I've still come from West London, bro. I haven't grown up in gold. I haven't grown up. I wanna help people, and you know, but there's some people out there who switch when they get fame and all that crap, and like it what's the point, bro? I don't get it. Like there's a difference of kind of you don't have time to answer people, and I understand that. Like you know, or like if someone's stepping on your feet when they shouldn't be or whatever, that's fair enough. But like I think being humble with it is so important, man, because it gets you places, bro. People acknowledge that it's not an act. I want to help people. It's what I like doing. I love helping people. I love training people up. If someone says, bro, look, like my little brother wants to get into music, how do I get them into music, man? Then I could, you know, I'm happy to help. I don't want to be the guy to be, nah, man. Like people brushed me off when I was younger. I'm gonna brush people off. It's like I want to share my knowledge, bro. I want to help. I wish there was someone like when I explain to people stuff like today. I wish there was someone telling me at my age, man, when I was younger. I would love to, you know.
And where can people get in touch with you to touch on that? So if when people want to know certain things, or if they want to access your services, how can people access your services?
I mean, so okay, cool. So I had a website. I recently took it down because a lot of spam happened. So for some reason, my website and email, everything went into India. I don't know how it happened, and I was getting spams left, right, center. I'm talking thousands of messages a week, and it kind of just got everything really mixed up. So I kind of had to cut my services down for the websites, everything. The best way to contact me is my email now available. That's in my Instagram. That's the best way. I respond. I check them, like I said, every morning, every night time. I check my emails.
What's your Insta handle so people can check it?
At Gaurav H Music. So at
write in the comments now.
Yeah, bro. Sorry. Oh, right. Okay. At Gaurav H Music. Yeah, and big up the boys, man. I can see them writing about the squad.
Well, no, I think we're going to round things off now, man. I know Danielle's got to break his fast, and we've been talking for over an hour now. So yeah, time.
But genuinely, it's been a pleasure, bro. Gaurav, you've really like a lot of why me and Marie do this is because we want other people to feel like there are voices out there that can inspire them, that look like them as well. But like when I do these conversations, I really look at this and go, "Fucking hell, man!" Like I'm really getting so much from like having this conversation. Honestly, so thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully when we do a live version of this, we'd love to kind of have you down, and that's it, man. We look forward to having more wicked conversations with dope creatives, man, because I think the more we're all talking to each other, the more we'll learn from each other. And that's the way, bro. Gaurav, so big up yourself. I'm going to give you one last big round of applause like you're the NHS. Big up,
guys, and you guys, boys. This is for all of us.
Yeah, bro. Thanks, girl, for coming through. I got mad love for you. You know that. Danielle has got mad love for you. People can contact you, obviously, at Gaurav H Music. And Jim, I think we'll just round it off like that, innit?
Big up everyone that locked in and commented and everything like that. Big up. Thank you.
And if anyone ever wants to kind of get in contact and stuff, don't be afraid to contact me or these guys as well. Actually, guys, I'd love to say.
You can follow us as well. You can follow Danielle at
Urban Panda Clothing.
You can follow me at Moeed Majid, because that's so original. Yeah.
If you want, no pressure, innit? No pressure.
All that. No, amazing. Thanks for having me, man.
Pleasure, my brother. God bless. Stay creative. Keep doing your thing, bro, and we'll speak soon.
Take care, boys.
Guys, man. Thank you to everyone who watched, tuned in, asked questions. We appreciate you. Thank you so much. Watch out for the next live, which will be in the next week or two. Follow South Asian Creators for the updates. and stay creative and be cool forever. And we love you all.
Fuck yeah. Love that. Laters.
Woo!
See you guys.